Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Professor Pankaj Madan from Faculty of Management Studies, Gurukul Kangri Vishwavidyalaya in Haridwar. Today we are going to talk on module Analysis of Variance and Experimental Design, one-way ANOVA under the paper Quantitative Techniques for Management Decisions. After the completion of this module, the student will understand an introduction to analysis of variance, role of analysis of variance approach, assumptions for analysis of variance, sum of squares, degrees of freedom, variance and error. You will also know about the fundamental principles of analysis of variance and also its limitations. When we note that the observation from an experiment pertaining to yield or measurement of any other character, we find that the observations vary from one another greatly. This variation is due to number of factors known as source of variation, and the portions of variations caused by different sources are also known as components of variation. The statistical analysis aims at assessing this total variation present and then appropriating it between the various factors responsible for the same. The analysis of variance is a simple arithmetic process of sorting out the components of variation in a given data. In the words of Fisher, it is the tool by which the total variation may be split up into several physically assignable components. Role of analysis of variance. The role of analysis of variance is not the only what we have described before, but it plays a dual role. In one, it sorts estimates of the various components. In the other, it provides the test of significance. There are few assumptions for doing analysis of variance. The first step in the analysis of variance is to partition the total variation in the sample data into the following two component variation in such a way that it is possible to estimate the contribution of factors that may cause variation. The first one, the amount of variation among the sample means or the variation attributes to the difference among the sample means. This variation is either on account of difference in treatment or due to the element of chance. This difference is denoted by SSC or SSTR. The second is the amount of variation within the sample observations. This difference is considered due to the chance causes or experimental, or you can say the random errors. The difference in the values of various elements in a sample data to chance is called an estimate and is denoted by SSE. We need to make few assumptions while doing analysis of variance, and these assumptions are that each population under study is normally distributed with a mean mu, and that may not be equal but equal variances, and the variances are denoted by sigma square r. Second assumption is each sample is drawn randomly and is independent of other samples. So assuming these two assumptions, we can find out the analysis of variance. Now about sum of square, degrees of freedom and variance of error, I can say that before we start learning the principles of analysis of variance, it is essential to know the relation among the variance, sum of squares and degrees of freedom and error. So the sum of squares is also called as the correction factors, and it is calculated by summation of x square minus cf, which is correction factor. Degrees of freedom. The degrees of freedom is one less than the number of variates in the sample concerned. In the above case, it will be n minus 1. If the number of treatments is t, degree of freedom will be t minus 1. Variance. Now variance is obtained by dividing the sum of squares by the corresponding degrees of freedom. For finding out the components of variation due to different factors, or you can say the sources of variation, it is necessary to calculate the sum of squares and the corresponding degree of freedom for every factor, and then the variance by the above formula can be calculated. The variance is generally spoken as mean square or mean sum of squares. The component of variation in the total variation which remains unexplained by the different sources of variation is considered to be due to error, and that can also be denoted as error in analysis of variance. Let's understand the basic principle of analysis of variance one-way ANOVA. Many business applications involve experiments in which different populations or group are classified with respect to only one attribute of interest, such as percentage of marks secured by student in a course, or a flavor preference of an ice cream by customer, or yield of crop due to varieties of seeds, and so on. In all classification, such cases, observation in the sample data are classified into several groups based on single attribute, and that's why it is called one-way classification. Explanation purpose, you can see the table 6.1, and here you can see the different populations with number of samples, and on the left hand side you can see various observations. So the number of x or mean are called sample means, and x double bar is the grand mean of all the observations or all the samples. Since there are k rows and r columns in table, therefore the total number of observations r into k, and that stands for n, provided each row has equal number of observation. But if the number of observation in each row varies, then the total number of observations will be n1 plus n2 plus up to nr, and thus that equals to n. So while making the null hypothesis, first when solving a problem for any hypothesis testing, we make a null hypothesis. In this, we make a null hypothesis HO is equal to mu1 is equal to mu2 is equal to up to mu r. That is the null hypothesis. And the alternative hypothesis says that all these means are not equal, or at least two of the means are not equal. Maybe 1 is not equal to 2, or 2 is not equal to 3, and like that. Now calculating the total variation, if a single sample size n is taken from the population, then estimate of the population variance on the variance of sampling distribution of the mean is given by this formula. The numerator in S square is called the sum of squares of deviations of sample values about the sample mean x bar, and is denoted as SS. Consequently, the sum of square is a measure of variation. Thus, the SS is divided by the degrees of freedom df, and the result is often called the mean square, which is an alternative term for sample variance. Total variation is represented by the sum of squares, that is SST, and is equal to the sum of the square differences between each sample value for the grand mean x double bar. Now in this formula, SST, R is the number of samples or the treatment level, and Nj is the size of the jth sample. The total variation is divided into two parts as shown below. Variation between samples means, and it is also called the sum of squares of treatment. And second is variation within the sample values. So there are two types of variation. One is variation between the samples, and second is variation within the samples. And the variation within the sample is called sum of the squares for error. So first we have made, in step 1, we have made the assumption for null hypothesis. Then we have calculated the variation, and the two variations we have calculated. We need to calculate variation between samples, and then we have to calculate variation within samples. So while calculating the variation between sample means, which is actually called the sum of squares between, and it measures the variation between the samples due to treatment. And in statistical terms, variation between sample means is also called between column variance. You can see its procedure, which says that we need to first calculate the mean values x1, x2, x3 of all our samples. Then we have to calculate the grand mean, that is x double bar, and then we have to calculate the difference between the mean of each sample and the grand mean. And when we do a summation of that, we give a term known as sum of square, and it is also called as sum of squares of treatment, SSTR. And once we have calculated this, that is the variation between the sample means, we move to calculate the variation within the samples. And while calculating the samples within the samples, we use another formula which says that sum of squares within. It is called sum of squares within and measures the difference within the samples due to a chance error. Such variation is also called within sample variance. So in this also, we first calculate the mean values x1, x2 up to xr for all our samples, and then we calculate the difference between each observation in our samples. And in step 3, then we square all the differences obtained in step B and find the total of these differences, and we call it as the sum of squares for error, and this is also defined as SSE. Now this is SSE is SST minus SSTR. SSTR is sum of squares of treatment. Then we go for calculating the average variation between and within sample means, and we find out the ratio of that. Since R independent samples are being compared, therefore R minus degrees of freedom are associated with the sum of squares among samples, as each of the R samples contribute nj minus 1 degrees of freedom for each independent sample. Within itself, there are n minus r degrees of freedom associated with the number of squares within samples. The total degrees of freedom equal to the degrees of freedom associated with SSC, or we can also call it as SSTR and SSE. That is, the total degrees of freedom is equal to between sample degrees of freedom plus within samples degree of freedom. So n minus 1 is equal to r minus 1 plus n minus r. When these sum of squares are divided by their associated degrees of freedom, we get the following variance or mean square terms. MSTR, that is equal to SSTR upon r minus 1, and MSE, which is SSE upon n minus r, and MST, which is SST upon n minus 1. It may also be noted that quantity MSE is equal to SSE upon n minus r in a pooled estimate of standard deviation or variance, where variance is the weighted average of all R samples, whether HO is true or not. The final step, where we find the F ratio, and F, or we call it as F test statistics, with R minus 1 degrees of freedom for the numerator and n minus r degrees of freedom for the denominator. So this is also called as F distribution or F test, and once we calculate this like a normal other hypothesis test, this is the F calculated value, and we need to calculate also the critical value or the F table value. So like we calculated in T test, we calculated T calculated, we also saw in the table T value, we also saw the Z table, and we calculated or we saw the Z value, and here we in the ANOVA table or the F distribution table, we need to check F table value with the given degrees of freedom, R minus 1 and N minus R. So if the calculated value of F test statistics is more than the right tail critical value, what I am saying as F table value at a given level of significance and degrees of freedom, which is R minus 1 and N minus R, then we reject the null hypothesis. So reject HO if calculated value of F is greater than its critical value, and that is F table value. Otherwise, accept HO. There are certain limitations of analysis of variance. In order that the F test or the analysis of variance may hold good, the necessary condition is that the experimental errors should be independently and normally distributed with mean 0 and variance sigma square, the population variance. It is also essential for the analysis of variance that the yield be composed additively of environmental effects, treatment effects, and the zero mean and the constant variance. In practice, we find that the lack of normality in data occurs frequently, and hence the data require transformation of some other scale so that a closer approach to normality in data occurs frequently, and hence the data require transformation to some other scale so that a closer approach to normality may be obtained. If transformation is used, the best estimate of the treatment means on the original scales are obtained by transforming back the means of the transform variable and then transforming back to the original scale. Now, this is the ANOVA summary table in which you can see the sum of the squares, and that is the variance between the columns and variance within the columns. And when we find out the mean squares, and then we find out the F ratio. And by computing this F ratio, we say it is F calculated. Let's take an example and see that how we can calculate the ANOVA, or we can calculate the F value. So in this example, you can see a study investigated the perception of corporate ethical values among individuals specializing in marketing. So you can see here in the question, there are 3 specializations of marketing, and using alpha is equal to 0.035 and the following data of their scores in the ethical values, we want to test if the perception among the 3 groups is same or different. Now let us assume that the null hypothesis that there is no significant difference in ethical values among individuals specializing in marketing, means all the 3 groups have the same kind of ethical values. There is no difference between the 3 groups. So for calculating that, we need to follow the steps what we have mentioned earlier. And here you can see there are 3 treatments or 3 samples, and all the samples, there are N1, N2 and N3, they are 6 in all. There is the sample size is 18, and there are 3 types of samples. One is marketing managers, another is marketing research, and third is advertising. So T is the sum of all the observations in the 3 samples, and it comes out to be 95. Then we try to find out the correction factors, which say that it is t square upon n, and it comes out to be 480.50. So total sum of squares is equal to summation x1 plus summation x2 plus summation x3 minus the correction factor, that is the 154 plus 123 plus 218 minus the correction factor 480.50. It comes out to be 14.50. Now we find out the sum of squares between the samples. I would like to revise you. Then I would say that you find out mean of each sample, you find out the grand mean, and then you want to find out the difference between the columns, you find out the difference within the columns, and then you take out the F ratio, then you see the F table value, and then you do a hypothesis testing. So continuing with this, to find out the sum of squares between the samples, we see the value of 150 plus 121.5 plus 216 minus 480.5 is equal to 7. So SSE is equal to SST minus SSTR, and it comes out to be 14.50 minus 7, it is 7.5. And degrees of freedom, again thus using the formula r minus 1 for first degrees of freedom, for second one it is n minus r, that is you can say n minus r means total sample size minus the number of categories or types of samples. So types of samples are 3 with 3 specialization. So r here is 3, n is equal to 18. So df1 is 2 and df2 is 15. So if you find out the MSTR, it is SSTR upon df2, that is 7 by 2, and it comes out to be 3.5, and MSE is SSTR upon degrees of freedom 2, that is 7.5 upon 15, it is 0.5. So going to, again we make a table in which we see that sum of squares or between sample variation is 7 with degrees of freedom 2, within sample it is 7.5 with degrees of freedom 15, and total of sum of squares is 14.5, total of degrees of freedom 17, mean squares it is 3.5 and 0.5. So F ratio is 3.5 upon 0.5, it becomes 0.7. So looking at the degrees of freedom, the F table at alpha is equal to 0.05 comes out to be 3.68. Since the calculated value of F, and what is that value? It is calculated value of F is 0.7, is more than the table value, the null hypothesis is rejected. Hence we conclude that there is significant difference in ethical values among individuals specializing in marketing. So the students, let's now summarize what we have learned in this module. In this module, we have learned that the analysis of variance is based on a comparison between two different estimates of variances of the overall population. It is computed by comparing the between column variance, that is SSTR, and internal variances within columns, that is SSE. We can calculate one of these estimates by examining the variances among the 3 or more samples. The second estimate of the population variance is determined by variation within the 3 samples. Then we can compare these two estimates of the population variance. Since both are estimates of variance, they should be approximately equal in value. When the null hypothesis is true, and if the null hypothesis is not true, these two estimates will differ considerably. Except this, we have also learned how to perform hypothesis test and interpret the results. Thank you very much.